When you're growing raspberries and blackberries, they look amazing like this, but they're gonna get out of control really quickly. So it's about time I put in a really simple DIY berry trellis, and there's a lot of work to do, so let's get to it. Blackberries and raspberries are cane crops, meaning they put out these long stems that, depending on the type, will either fruit on the first year or the second year of that individual cane's life. And as Jacques found out last year, planting blackberries and raspberries in ground can get a little unruly. So what you need to do is build some kind of trellis to contain them, and this is what we've come up with. It's a 4x4 post on either side of the blackberry patch, and what you do is you adhere that in the ground with cement, maybe 1.5 feet or 2 feet deep, and then coming up anywhere from 4 to 6, 7, 8 feet even if you want to, and we'll put a couple little cross beams out about 2 feet across, and we'll run some wire to contain all of those canes so they don't get in our way. Got my safety goggles. The first thing we need to do here is cut our 4x4 posts down to size. These are 8 feet. I need to get them down just a little bit. So I'm cutting 1.5 feet off here. And this is Common Redwood. So it's not absolutely the most sturdy on earth, but it's pretty close. And I think for this purpose, it's gonna be totally fine. And this is a little hard to cut on my own, so I might actually need to summon the resident garden hermit for a little help. Whoa! Hey, we're not using that yet, Jacques. I just need some help holding this thing.
Oh,
really
I guess
quick.
we need to cut it before we make the hole.
Yeah. Here we go. Our 4x4s are cut. We need to cut the cross beams with the same wood, Common Redwood, 2x4s, 2 feet each. And we need how many? 4?
Yep.
Our cuts are made really simple. Remember to check the description for the full cut and build list, but now we need to get back to the patch and start putting it together. Okay, we're back where it all began. We're gonna use this power planner to start these holes, and then we're gonna use the shovel to finish it off and set it with concrete. First post going in, just using some fast setting Quickcrete. Very simple. We're doing the easy method of just pouring it in and mixing at the same time and not stressing out too much. Okay, we're just gonna take a stake and mix it around a little bit. Make sure it's nice and set, well incorporated.
So I think it's about 30-ish minutes before we could start messing with it.
Yeah, on to the next.
All we're doing here is making sure that these posts are level and roughly at the same height as one another. We don't want any weird aesthetic look. And then just getting the concrete in to provide enough of a base so that when all these canes are being contained, they don't pull the system out from itself.
We'll see you back in about 30 minutes once this sets to put on the rest of the hardware. We're back and we're set. As you can see, we're in a good spot. So what we need to do is add on these cross beams, and these are coming on the outside edge so that the line that we throw down will pull against it and it'll have a nice secure sort of setup here. So our 2-foot cross beam on top, we just need to make sure that we center it. So a couple quick measurements here. Yep, we'll throw a pilot screw down.
You want to drill?
Yeah, I'll do a drill. So we're gonna be using these T30 screws to get in, which is why it was important to drill a pilot hole, because these are kind of beefy.
So in go the cross beams. You wanna make sure they're on the outside edge of the trellis system and that they are nice and centered and level, because remember, you're mapping this to the other side of the trellis as well. And then for this second cross beam, it's just roughly halfway down the system. As long as it's the same height as the other one we'll put in, we're gonna be in a really good spot to make sure these canes have something to hang on to.
Our 2 cross beams are in, level, and secure over here. We just need to duplicate that on the other side, and then we'll string it up. Now that we have our cross beams in, there are 2 pieces of hardware we need to actually install the trellis. So on one side, let's say this post here, we're gonna be using these eye hooks. This has a washer, a lock washer, and then a nut, and it's gonna be affixed pretty much like this, but right around here, right about in the center, so that we can tie our wire to this eye. On the other post, instead of the eye hook system, we're gonna be using just this little anchor piece right here for our wire. This is what's gonna catch the wire. So what we need to do is drill a hole through the wood, and what we'll do is we'll put this anchor in basically like this, with the pointy side pointing in. The reason why that's important is because as you feed wire through this, what happens is it can go through like that, but it cannot come back. So we can push it in and have it actually have a nice tight hold, sort of like this basket around our berries. But if you want to ever fix it, you can actually pull the whole thing through and reset it if you need to tie it up again or something like that. So let's go ahead and screw this in. So all I'm doing is just making sure that I'm roughly in the middle here, and I'm coming in about an inch or so.
With this hardware system, you have a lot of flexibility because while the anchor on the other side will only accept thread and will not bring it back, you can actually thread the whole thing straight through if you ever need to reset the wire for some reason, and you can unscrew the eye hook or just cut off the wire from the eye hook, run it through the anchor, and reset the entire thing. So I'm just making sure that I am nice and sturdy here and as even as I can from one side of the trellis to another when I install this hardware.
Our eye hooks are in. Let's flip over there and do the anchors. Remember, this is the side that accepts the wire, so this is the side that needs to go through the hole here. So it'll go through just like that. The anchors are in. We are at the final step here to thread and then train all of our canes up into our final trellis. So our wire is a 12 gauge galvanized wire, and all I'm really doing here is just affixing it to the threaded side in a really simple manner. All I'm gonna do is just come through, thread it through, get enough slack here to make one loop like this, pull this really tight, and then I'm just gonna start threading it around and kind of wrapping it almost like you're coiling a spring. Okay, that's good enough. It's really not gonna come apart. And then I'm gonna use these Felco CPs. This has become one of my favorite tools for cutting these harder materials. It's actually available in our store. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys. Absolutely love this. I'll hold one end, snip the other end. There we go, easy peasy. And now we just need to drag it down to the other side, making sure that we don't cut it off until we have enough slack. Because remember, that anchor accepts the wire, but it does not give you the wire back. So you have to make sure you have some slack. So let's drag it out. Okay, we're here at the end. Looks like I've got more than enough slack here. So I'll come through and make my cut. Okay, we'll trim off the end and just rinse and repeat. The basic structure of this trellis is now complete. What I can do now is make sure that I'm keeping all of my raspberry and blackberry canes inside this basket, so to speak. I can also run another wire down the middle if I feel like I don't have enough support, but I think I'll be okay with these wires for now. The thing to remember is that this is gonna get pretty bushy. They can come all the way up to here, and what you're really looking for, especially on these floricane varieties, meaning they are fruiting on the second year of a cane's life, is actually for them to fall down, and you'll get a ton of production on those canes that have fallen down. It's actually somewhat similar to how a dragon fruit grows, even though those plants aren't really related at all. I'll show you right here. If I take this cane, this one's the longest one here, and I hold it up, it's almost ready to come down. So I can even take a little tape and tie it here and let it fall, but this is the tallest one I have. So as I grow in this patch back here, I'm gonna be waiting and watching and just making sure I take care of these plants as they grow, which is gonna come up in another video. So stay tuned, subscribe, good luck in the garden, and keep on growing.